Due to Spotify technical difficulties last week, Sports Frenzy 2.0 was unable to air the latest episode. We're back, baby!
That's right. We teased it the other night. Everything is now copacetic. Everything is fine. We get to start 2024 off finally with the most politically incorrect year ever for Sports Frenzy 2.0. I'm fired up. I'm mad.
It's the year of Festivus. We got issues with everything.
We're going to air our grievances all year long, and believe me, we didn't get to do it last week, so we got pent-up frustrations. He's a conquistador, Dave Hyde.
He is the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Taping here on January the 10th, 2024. Got to remember to 2024. This will hit on January the 11th. And, of course, we'll be back with the weekend edition, your Saturday morning hangover cure, on the 13th.
I know we got completely shut out for that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, at least we had a little bit of content that unfortunately got lost in the cloud.
Yes.
With our taping issues last week. Spotify fixed everything. Only took them 5 days. Only took me a bunch of working through AI crap.
Yeah. All of the recordings we got done.
Hours worth. An hour's worth
of info. Spinning indefinitely. Not uploading and processing.
Yep.
Oh, the frustration.
Yep. So we apologize, even though it really technically wasn't our fault. We'll take the hit because we're mature men. We're willing to go that extra mile, that extra yard to say we're sorry.
When it's warranted.
Yes.
Only when it's warranted.
Yes, Aaron. Okay. Oh, we're going to have fun with that later. We're going to...
Hey, what's our motto? No apologies.
Yes.
Unless
it's warranted. Factual errors, we will apologize for. Opinions, no. No. We are allowed to have our opinions just like you and every other asshat on the face of the earth. And that's
like
what
Aaron
Sports
Rodgers.
Frenzy is all about. I have a confession coming later, by the way, where you might not want to ever do this podcast ever again with me.
What did you do the other day?
We'll talk about it later. But what do we start off with at this time of year, Dave?
NFL, baby.
So we're not going to go revisit the lost segments from last week.
It's not worth it. It's old dead news.
Yep. So we're going to talk about the final week of the NFL season, NFL Week 18. And, of course, our picks for Wild Card Weekend. 7 of the 8 panelists have picks in for the 6 games coming up through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So let us get into it. And let's talk about the teams that showed up, showed out, and then massive, huge headlines here hitting within the last 2 days.
Do you want to hit the recap of the games first?
Let's talk about the teams that showed up, that needed to win and did, and the teams that needed to win and failed miserably.
All right.
So we go back to Saturday, January the 6th. The Pittsburgh Steelers, God help Mason Rudolph. I don't think he's the long-term solution, but he's better than what they got. And he won in Baltimore. I know everybody was resting for the Ravens.
But still, that game was closer than I think you thought it was going to be.
No, I didn't think it was going to be a blowout by any stretch. I did not think the Ravens, even the second stringers, would let Najee Harris run all over them.
That was scary, but
17-10 final score. Baltimore lets their arch rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, into the playoffs.
You never let an arch rival sneak in.
And they needed some help.
Don't do it.
They needed some help, which they got later on. Now, the night game Saturday. The Texans go into Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium to play the Colts. Got this one completely wrong.
The Colts shit the bed at home with the playoffs on the line.
Well, my question is, when you know the one viable target that CJ Stroud has is Nico Collins, why don't you double team Nico fucking Collins instead of letting him have a career day?
What, you mean actually play defense and have a game plan that makes sense?
Now, they stopped the run. They did a very good job stopping the run.
Whoop-de-frickin'-do. They didn't have to worry about the run when Nico was running all over him in the secondary.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Terrible, terrible defensive strategy for the Colts.
And no adjustment.
Nope, no adjustment at all. Texans win Indianapolis 23-19. They move on. They actually, based on what we're going to be talking about in a minute, win the putrid and pathetic AFC South. They will be playing the first playoff game this coming Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
We move on to Sunday the 7th, and then we get to the game. Good Lord, I was one of those people at the beginning of the season who really thought, I did not think the Jaguars would get to the Super Bowl.
No, but they should have gotten to the playoffs.
I thought they would have taken the next step. And they were going to be up there with the Chiefs and with the Dolphins and the Bills as one of the 4 or 5 best teams. Maybe the Bengals before the Burrow injury.
The Jaguars are not ready for anything.
There is something wrong with this team.
We've as Bears fans talked about the shortcomings of Justin Fields. When is Lawrence going to be questioned?
I think next year. Because this year he could use the injuries as an excuse. But that's it. You get one pass. Next year, you still have a top-level coach with Doug Peterson. Now, they had their sacrificial lamb. They fired the defensive coordinator, Mike Caldwell, after this loss.
So what? The defense was not necessarily the main problem.
Well, they couldn't stop Derrick Henry to save their lives.
Nobody can stop Derrick Henry to save their lives.
At this point in his career, he's still a Hall of Famer. I'm not disputing that. And anybody who does is an idiot.
Absolutely.
And we'll get to the Hall of Fame here in a couple minutes. That's one of the few things we're going to recap from our lost segments from last week, is the 15 finalists for the NFL Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But
if the Jaguars had any semblance of an offense, they should have been able to score on the Titans.
Yes. And I agree. Trevor Lawrence missed a lot of passes. And there are enough weapons around him with Etienne, with Kirk, with Ridley, with Ingram, who actually had a phenomenal year as a tight end.
Yeah.
Didn't see the end zone a lot, but had a shit ton of catches.
The weapons are there.
Yeah.
The execution is not.
Right. So I will say next year, if they shit the bed again like this next year, then you start chalking up Trevor Lawrence as a failure, because it's getting to the point where he's due for his extension. He's getting to the point where he's due for that big
on the
extension.
clock.
And I'm not giving him an extension based on this year.
No, he doesn't deserve it at this point. You had to give him the pass because of the lost rookie year.
Yeah, with Urban Meyer.
Right. That was just a complete joke.
You know who his career trajectory is starting to mimic? I'm not going here yet. Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Overall number 1 pick, comes in with all the hoopla and the fanfare and plays okay, gets his teams to the playoffs once, maybe twice, but never takes him to the next level. He might end up being that guy who has to reinvent himself with another team. Prove to another
who
team
he is, or become a career backup like Sam Darnold.
Yeah. Yep. I wouldn't say that desperate yet. I'm thinking the Baker Mayfield thing is somebody will give him a shot. If next year ends up imploding, somebody will give him a shot as a starter.
Because there's always somebody who says,
On
I
a
can
one-year
fix it.
deal. On a one-year deal.
Yeah. Somebody will think, I can fix him.
Yes. Yep. The Bill Belichick era in New England. Not over yet.
No, but
Bad
death
way.
knell.
Bad way for this season to
It's
end.
a horrible way to end at home. Losing to the Jets 17-3.
With Trevor Siemian. Yeah, and now we'll get to the news here. Of course, we didn't mention the fact that the Titans, we didn't give you the final score. The Titans beat the Jaguars 28-20. Keep these two games in mind for later on, kids. The Titans beat the Jaguars the last weekend of the season when the Titans had nothing to play for, and the Patriots get destroyed at Foxborough by the hapless Jets, with Bill Belichick having an abysmal year. Keep these two games in mind for just a couple minutes. The Artie party is done in Atlanta.
Yes, it's officially over.
Now, the Saints did what they needed to do. They didn't get the help they needed to, so they are done. 48-17 down in New Orleans. They beat the Falcons, but
supposed controversy at the end of the game.
I don't think it's supposed. I think it's genuine. Jameis Winston, what the fuck is he doing?
He's looking out for a teammate.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You don't do that. You show some class.
You get the
Your
guy
coach
touchdown.
said you take the victory touch. You kneel down and you're done.
That shows Dennis Allen has lost that team.
Yes, I agree with that. But that's a classless move on Winston's part. You do not override the head coach's call because you want to get your teammate a touchdown. A meaningless, worthless, pathetic touchdown, and you basically throw the entire locker room into chaos. Now, I'm shocked that the Saints did not fire Dennis Allen and cut Jameis Winston.
That would have been the move
the next morning. Yes.
Both of them should have been out of there.
Because obviously, like you said, this shows they have no respect for Dennis Allen. And Jameis Winston, that pathetic piece of shit, should be out the door. Sorry. I don't care about him looking out for a teammate.
No, it's insubordination. It should not have happened.
I don't think there was any money on the line either. This wasn't about a bonus.
No, it wasn't a money bonus or anything.
Yeah. No. Out the door. Both of them out the door.
Cut. Allen fired for not having control of the team or the locker room.
Right.
None of the players seem to respect him at all.
Right. Agree on both counts. But of course, who are we to talk about leadership when it comes to our team? As the Bears look awful. Awful.
This game the score is closer than what the game actually was.
Completely agree. Packers in a need-to-win situation, but we all thought, with the exception of Aaron, our panelists all thought the Bears would show up because they have played very well over the last month. They looked terrible.
That Eberflus defense took 4 steps backwards against the Packers. They were not prepared for anything, and they made absolutely no adjustments at halftime. They stayed in their stupid-ass little zone coverage. They really didn't blitz. All the Packers did, let's just do a little quick three-step drop, quick slant pass. They ate the zone apart. Eberflus did nothing to make any changes. Brisker was on local Chicago radio. Listen to his comments. They asked him about, you have talked about in the past on the show that he was on, being able to talk to Eberflus about making adjustments and what's going on during the game. And they asked, was there any discussion? He's like, no, not this week. Was there any talk of making adjustments by Eberflus at halftime? Nope, he said we're sticking with our game plan. How? How can you give this guy a vote of confidence for laying another turd against your biggest rival?
And I think this is a good point to take a little bit of a tangent and start talking about some of the headlines that have hit in the last 48 hours. Number one, as it pertains to the Bears, Matt Eberflus is coming back.
Oh, yay.
But Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator, has been dismissed.
Yep. There's only 2 offensive coaches that are currently being retained. The offensive line coach, for whatever reason, and the tight ends coach. Which, with the development, the way everything went with Kmet,
yes,
I can see sticking with that. The offensive line is still garbage. And they really went backwards against the Packers. They gave Fields no time at all.
Now, in our pre-show get-together, I told you that I am hoping and praying that the Bears pull a Cubs, is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this is all smoke and mirrors.
That they're actually looking for
this is like when you're going to the prom and you get an early date. You jump the gun and you ask out the decent-looking chick. You know, she might have a little ear hair, might have a big nose, but otherwise got some nice tatas. But then the really, really good-looking one that you always wanted to go to the prom with, it
asks you.
Yes. You know what you do?
Bye-bye.
You tell ear hair, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I got a better offer.
I'm going down to IU. I'm heading out to USC next year. I don't care if I hurt your feelings, babe. You see what I'm going to be taking to the prom? So I am hoping that this is how it's going to play out for the Bears. The Cubs did this with David Ross. And I have been screaming for years to get rid of David Ross, and they smartly, brilliantly
they played
it beautifully. Oh, we're not going to get... We love David Ross. Oh, Craig Counsell's available? Fuck you! Fuck you, Davey! Fuck you, Uncle Rossi! Bye-bye! Take your ear hair elsewhere. We got the pretty girl now.
And there you go.
And I'm hoping to God that's what's going on behind the scenes at Hallis Hall.
We can only
that
hope.
If Jim Harbaugh starts talking to the front office, if Bill Belichick becomes available, Mike Vrabel, for the love of God, is available. Any of them would be a huge upgrade in what they would do for the draft. The credibility they would give to any number 1 pick
would be so much better.
And we know Caleb Williams cares about Caleb Williams. And you and I have discussed how we're not really too warm on him and his brand. But
he's got the tools, but it's the intangibles. How does he command the locker room? How much respect does he actually have from his teammates and those around him?
Right. But right now, I'm vacillating. I'm going back and forth, and I'm telling you, I would rather get a head coach in who can command the locker room, and somebody just give us the option at number 1. If Caleb Williams sees us make the move and bring in an alpha male as a head coach, he might go, all right, Chicago looks like they know what they're doing. Give us the option. Give us the option of, then we decide, do we want him or do we want to trade out? Do we take Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I tell you, whatever the Bears do, they have got a lot of serious frickin' work to do behind the scenes investigating these top quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Because you cannot miss again.
Well, and one of the things I keep hearing over and over again, which I, as a financial guy, as an accountant, I like to discuss the money.
Reset the clock.
Reset the clock. Exactly. 110%. You reset the clock on your quarterback position, because do you really want to gamble on Justin Fields for one more year and then have to worry about giving the worst contract ever given out? Was the Giants giving $40 million to Daniel Jones, because now that's what all these second, third tier quarterbacks want is $40 million. I'm not giving Justin Fields $40 million a goddamn year.
No, he
I'm not.
hasn't earned it at this point. As much as I like Fields and think he has all the talent to be able to get it done, two things he still cannot do. He cannot read a defense to pick up a blitz.
Right.
And he cannot hit the quick slant. He will not throw the ball into tight coverage on those slants. And that's what has to happen. That's what Jordan Love was able to do.
I'll tell you what I do right now, because you and I know we should be running the team. So as my co-GM, here's what I would do. I would discuss this with you. I would go to Justin Fields right now and I would say, here's what I'm offering you. 4-year deal, $100 million, $50 million guaranteed, take it or leave it. Otherwise, we're drafting a quarterback.
And trading you.
Yeah. I'll give him $50 million guaranteed for 4 years. If he plays well, he gets $100 million. That's $25 million a year. And then after that.
And if he shows that he can be the guy, you can always up it.
Exactly. That's all it's about, is reworking deals, restructuring deals.
Everything that's done.
But this idiotic crap the Giants did, giving Daniel Jones $40 million.
That was dumb beyond belief.
And the Buccaneers are in the same position. Of course, the Buccaneers, in a pathetic, awful game, beat the Carolina Panthers 9-0 to win the NFC South, I believe, for the 4th year in a row.
Yeah,
or maybe they won the 3rd year in a row and the 4th year in the playoffs.
4th year in the playoffs, yeah. They
9-0
backed into this
So what's Baker Mayfield gonna want now?
NFC South.
Yeah.
He can't want much because he didn't do anything.
That's what I'm saying. You've got, at some point, the market has got to do a complete reset.
It has to.
And we can't just base it on, I understand giving Burrow the money. I understand giving Herbert the money. I understand giving Lamar Jackson the money. But again, you cannot give Daniel Jones $40 million, and all these other quarterbacks like Fields and Mayfield cannot expect $40 million a year. They can't.
No. And I still question what Buffalo gives Josh Allen, the turnover machine.
Yeah, they win despite of him.
Yeah.
We'll get to them in a minute.
Every good play he does, he gives a negative. How can he be considered elite at this point?
Well, hell, let's just jump into it right now. So the last game of the weekend was the Bills at the Dolphins. Bills win 21-14. And you're right. 3 turnovers. Boom, boom, boom. Basically in the first 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, and Miami, as beat up as they are with all the injuries, unable to capitalize.
Right.
And then they just completely disappeared in the second half.
Despite all the turnovers from Josh Allen, he still makes the plays, especially with his feet. And you wonder how long that's going to work. Yeah. But the Bills do win the game, 21-14, so they jump all the way up to the number 2 seed in the AFC, dropping the Dolphins down to a Peacock exclusive Saturday night game in Arrowhead, where the temperatures are supposed to be 0 or lower.
And I am on record right now. Fuck the NFL. Fuck NBC. And fuck Peacock. You do not put frickin' playoff games on streaming services. I have Peacock. I refuse to watch this game in protest for this bullshit move.
And you know what I heard a very wise man say today? This is a test. I'm not taking
this
credit for this.
Test.
I heard this from somebody else.
Yeah, that's everybody said. This is a litmus test
to see if they can put the NFL on pay-per-view.
Yep.
That's what this is. That's exactly, completely what this is. This is a precursor to going to pay-per-view.
And anybody out there, if you're smart, you will boycott watching this game.
Because I'm like
Don't
you. I've
frickin'
got
do
Peacock
it.
for other things. I did not get Peacock to watch this game. And I've heard pathetic, awful people in the media who've said they're going to go out and get Peacock to watch this game.
They're
You're buying
morons.
into it.
You
You're
are
buying
causing
into it.
problems.
You lemmings, you're buying into it. This is what they want. Well, it's only $6. Then
That's besides the point.
the next thing you know, you're going to be paying $50 to watch the Super Bowl. This is
No.
what they want.
No.
All right, a couple other games I want to bring up of note. The Seahawks squeaked by the Cardinals 21-20. They did what they had to do, but it wasn't enough. Again, they didn't get the help. And we have more on the Seahawks coming in a minute.
Yep.
And God bless the football gods! I knew it! I said it! I called it! They would never, ever, ever deny us. Stafford versus Goff. I called the Rams.
Conspiracy theory.
Yes, it could be.
Can we talk about, once we're done with this, did you hear the Super Bowl?
Oh, the colors?
The colors.
The colors and the logo?
Yeah.
Yes, I have heard that. Yes.
And as it came out.
What is it, 3 years in a row now? They're looking.
And people started calling, oh, gee, who are they trying to line up for this year?
There's purple. There is purple in this logo.
And there's red, gold. So speculation was Ravens-Niners for this year. Halfway through the season, the NFL went to a generic color scheme.
Yep. No, I definitely heard that because of the last couple years and how the colors and the logos just happened to coincide with the teams that made the Super Bowl. Yes. Oh, we got conspiracy theories up the ass. And like hot oil up the ass, like somebody who we're going to be talking about loves.
And you know what else we have? Spillage.
Oh, God, yes. There's going to be a lot of spillage here and in the weekend edition because we got to play catch up. Dave and I are just bursting at the seams with rants and raves and everything that we need to get through to you guys because we couldn't do it last week.
Yeah, we didn't even get to discuss the frickin' officiating fiasco.
Nope, so we got to talk about the final 15 for the Hall of Fame. Then we have to give you our panel's picks for Wild Card Weekend. So we've covered everything.
Quick note, Raiders did beat the Broncos 27-14.
Yeah, but that one doesn't impact anything. No. It doesn't impact anything.
But it's part of our recap.
Yes, I know. And then we've got massive news when it comes to coaching changes. Jobs that we did not think were going to be open are all of a sudden open.
And jobs that should be open aren't.
Well, we talked about Eberflus.
Yeah, that was the big one. And in New Orleans.
Yeah. But, as Dave said, spillage on the way. The first of 4, 5, 6, 7.
Who the hell knows?
I'm LeBron James. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Who knows how many segments we're going to do here? Dave and I will be right back after a quick promo break. Hey kids, ready for a blast of dairy goodness? Pick up Sports Frenzy 2.0 milk at your local grocery store. Remember, when you drink Sports Frenzy 2.0 milk, you're not only enjoying a healthy treat, you're helping to locate missing sports heroes of the past and present. Our cartons and jugs feature pictures of Peng Shuai, Ryan Leaf, and Sammy Sosa as we do our part to find the lost icons of the last 30 years. And don't forget our special weekend edition chocolate milk containers, available on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, because they feature celebrities like Lindsay Lohan, Helen Hunt, and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Pick up a gallon today.
All right, the first official spillage of 2024 on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, iHeart Sports Frenzy 2.0, baby!
Doesn't he do that so much better than I did?
Practice.
Yes.
Lots of practice.
On the weeks where he's gone, I just run through that just in a very generic, robotic format. You bring such passion to the game, baby.
You gotta have fun with it.
All right, let's hit some headlines in the NFL before we get to our picks. Now, number one, recapping the end of the season, we went through the last roster of games from Week 18. We talked about Jacksonville firing defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell. Wink Martindale is out as the New York Giants defensive coordinator.
Boy, massive drama there.
Yes, where supposedly he could have stayed on, but Brian Daboll, the head coach, wanted to fire some of his assistants.
Yeah.
And when Martindale found out, he went into Daboll's office and cursed him out.
He went nuclear on him and slammed the door and
basically jumped on a plane, went down to Florida, and told everybody he knew, I'm resigning.
Yep.
So now officially he is out as the Giants defensive coordinator.
Yep, they reached an agreement. He forfeits the $3 million left on the deal, and he's free to sign with anybody going forward with no repercussions.
Yep. Kudos to the AFC North, where all four teams finished above 500. Very, very strong.
That's
showing.
Impressive.
Very strong, and especially not only with the Steelers, who we have been giving accolades to here for weeks, on their third quarterback, all the issues, firing the offensive coordinator, and they finished 10-7 and make the playoffs. Again, Mike Tomlin has earned my respect over the last couple of years.
But Tomlin's failure of the season was not turning to Mason Rudolph sooner.
I understand. Yeah, I understand with the Kenny Pickett deal. You got to try to work Kenny Pickett in.
But why the hell did you go so long with Trubisky?
Yes, exactly. Come talk to us Bears fans, and we'll let you know about Mitch. Oh, God, what did I hear over the weekend, too? Somebody said, oh, this is the anniversary of the double doink. The Cody Parkey double doink. Fuck you! I don't need to be reminded of that. And how he had to go on to a woman's talk show the week after to discuss the trauma.
Oh, God.
Bill Belichick, we know he is still, for the moment,
as of now,
the head coach of the Patriots. But did you know he is closing in on Don Shula for the all-time record for most wins as a coach?
Yes.
But he is now tied after this abysmal year for the most regular season losses as a head coach in NFL history. He now has 165 losses, tied with Jeff Fisher and Dan Reeves.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So Belichick eventually could end up having the most losses and the most wins as a head coach.
If he stays with the Patriots or if another team brings him on.
He'd have to go to another team. I don't see in the current incarnation this Patriots team doing anything.
And it would have to be a desperate team at this point to bring him in.
I don't know about that.
You can't give him any personnel control.
No, that I agree with. He should not be doing anything in terms of GM duties, CEO duties. He should just be coaching the team on the field. And of course, rumors are that Josh McDaniels could be coming back to take over the offense. Doesn't do you any good when you don't have a quarterback.
Exactly.
Now, they are in prime position to draft one.
They could get one, maybe.
We'll see how that plays out. Now, Pro Bowl picks. Bears got 2. Montez Sweat is a starter. Jalen Johnson is a reserve?
No brainer. And when the hell are the Bears going to get smart and give Johnson his deal?
They need to. They need to make sure. I know they've got an option on Moore for next year. Lock him up long term.
Yeah.
Lock him up long term.
You have got to keep those guys around.
Yep. Buccaneers only got one. Only got one Pro Bowler, Mike Evans, reserve. And that was it. And then the Dolphins, of course, for all of their flash and their panache and their speed and their skill, they got 6 Pro Bowlers. A lot of good it did them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They can't play the elite teams. They are not elite.
They need to toughen up. This is my opinion. They need to toughen up. They need to be better on the road, need to learn how to play in cold weather, considering the other 3 teams in their division are cold weather teams.
Yeah.
They have got to learn how to toughen up and play in bad weather. Now, they did have a great game earlier this year in cold weather.
They did. But again, they are so frustrating. Everything is there for them.
Well, I've told you. By the way, this is a great moment to congratulate. It's not a golf clap. This is a regular clap. The Conquistador won our fantasy football league. Kudos to you, my man.
Why, thank you.
A great, great run. He will get the new or the old?
We'll see.
Falk Holmes Plate of Greatness. Currently, it's being refurbished. We'll see if he gets the new one or the old one. There's
either is fine.
Couple of factors in play, but
yeah, no, we'll see how it all rolls out. But yeah, this was a year of matchups. I had the fewest number of points scored and the fewest number of points against. So everything just kind of fell into place where before matchups killed me. This year, they fell my way.
And that's why I wanted to bring that up, is because I was just going to start talking about fantasy players when it comes to the Dolphins. And how I said, I had him last year, and I said, I'll never draft this guy again. Jalen Waddle is a China doll. You cannot depend on him.
No, he cannot be depended on at all.
And I had Raheem Mostert for most of the year.
He's another injury.
I was very scared to put him in the lineup week in and week out. And it cost me at the end because I went with James Woods instead of him, and that probably cost me 3rd place. But Mostert, yeah, he's another one. And McDaniel likes to play around like Belichick with the injury report.
Yeah.
And everybody's questionable going into the weekend, so you never know how serious the injuries really are. Is it something that they take one hit, they're going to be out? Or is it really something they're fine and you're just trying to protect them?
Or are they just healthy enough to be on the field as a distraction and aren't going to actually do anything?
They're going to be a decoy. Right.
Yeah, like Komet was, which almost cost me.
Yeah. So, not a big fan of that. But, again, great time to give congratulations and kudos to the man, the myth, the legend, my brother from another mother, the Conquistador Dave Height, the 2023-24 Plate of Greatness winner. Now, on a more somber note, when it comes to the Dolphins, lots of stuff to talk about with the Dolphins. Now, we know last week Tyreek Hill's house caught on fire.
Yeah.
Some would say that could be a distraction. But it turns out the fire was started by a child with a cigarette lighter. Who's watching the kids, Tyreek? Who is watching the kids? That kind of scares me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's no bueno.
No.
What was she doing?
And then, after the game at Hard Rock Stadium, news comes down that a Bills fan was shot and killed.
There's
after
no
the game
excuse for this crap. You are not in Chavez Ravine outside Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, start acting like human beings. Stop acting like animals. It's a game. Jesus God. Insults
People
fly.
are stupid. Just let things go.
All right, now we will move on to the big stuff, the juicy stuff. First, the Hall of Fame finalists were announced last week. Down to the final 15. Dave and I went through this in our lost segments. So we're going to do this real quick again. I'm going to run down the 15 finalists. They will be reduced to 10 and then to 5. The 5 will make it in. Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Antonio Gates, Julius Peppers, Patrick Willis, Andre Johnson, Jared Allen, Dwight Freeney, Willie Anderson, Darren Woodson, Devin Hester, Eric Allen, Jari Evans, Fred Taylor, Rodney Harrison. Dave, who you got?
Devin's a no-brainer. Devin
You and
Hester,
I agree on that, obviously.
The all-time leader in touchdown returns.
He should be in already.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame here in the third segment, by the way.
Yep. I would lean towards Torrey Holt with the greatest show on turf, kind of leading to the new revamped offenses with the speedster receivers.
Yeah, the only problem I have with the receivers is you got Holt, Wayne, Johnson, and to me they all kind of jumble in together.
Yeah, they kind of
with
do.
This, like you said, the new style of offense. I would probably side with you and go with Holt as the best of the three.
Yeah.
I think Andre Johnson, no. The Texans never did anything.
No,
you got to have a little bit of success on the field. You know, you got to have a little bit of success.
You have to have a little cachet.
Yes.
You have to really have stood out.
Now, I told you I would go with Antonio Gates.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the 5 best tight ends of all time. I think he's a no-brainer. So we've got Hester, we've got Gates.
And Holt.
Yeah. I'm no Jared Allen.
Oh, hell no. He's not worthwhile.
I love Patrick Willis when he played, but he cut his career too short. Fred Taylor, no, he was a nice player, but I don't know. I'd probably go with Freeney. Yeah, probably go with Freeney
at 4.
Yeah, and then I might slot in Reggie Wayne at 5.
Yeah,
go with 2 receivers. Again, because of the success that Holt and Wayne had on the field with their teams.
Now, the biggest problem I have with this list is the omission. Steve Mongo McMichael. Why the hell is he not in the Hall already with his 85 Bear brethren? It's a travesty.
There are certain teams where I do not have a problem with the Hall of Fame putting in 7, 8, 9, 10 players. The Steel Curtain, the Pittsburgh Steelers from the late 70s into the early 80s. Their rivals, the Dallas Cowboys from that same era.
Yep.
The 49ers. The Cowboys under Jimmy Johnson, and then for one pathetic year, Barry Switzer. But those teams had
the players,
the ultimate rosters. And of course,
we're partial to the 85 Bears.
You would imply the 85 Bears, yes.
That
if you do not get the fact that I'm implying the 85 Bears. And even if you want to look at the Patriots in their run, those teams were not.
They didn't have those
the stacked
stalwarts.
rosters. The stacked rosters that these other teams that I've talked about have had. The historic rosters. It was Tom Brady and it was a bunch of other guys. It was Brady, Belichick, and a bunch of guys. It was not the unbelievable offensive line with the Cowboys in the early 90s and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin. It was not Montana and Rice.
It wasn't the
Ronnie Lott. It
wasn't Washington's Hogs.
Right.
That great offensive line.
Right. So there are certain units, certain teams that deserve to have tons of players from their starting lineups in the Hall of Fame. And the Bears are definitely from 85 one of those teams. Completely agree with you. All right, the elephant in the room is, of course, we just went through Black Monday. But it turned out that Tuesday and Wednesday ended up being the more eventful
it's kind
days.
of the Black Week.
Yeah, because Tuesday, as I was watching the Pat McAfee show,
Oh, God.
for reasons we will discuss later, the news broke that Mike Vrabel was fired shockingly from the Tennessee Titans. Now, we knew already that Arthur Smith gone with the Falcons, no surprise. Ron Rivera gone with the Commanders, no surprise. But then things got weird.
Very strange.
Mike Vrabel fired. Bears keep Eberflus. And then today, just a few hours before we decide to record, Pete Carroll
steps down. They agree he's going to step down and become an advisor.
Shocking. Blows my doors off. Blows. Never would I have thought that Vrabel, there was a slight chance. Because I think
he and the
Titans
GM
ownership
did not, and the ownership.
Right.
Vrabel and the GM and ownership were on completely different wavelengths.
Right. Because if you remember, a couple years ago, when they had A.J. Brown, Mike Vrabel said, as long as I'm here, A.J. Brown will be here. And then literally within 2 weeks, they traded A.J. Brown.
How did that work out for him?
Yeah. And I listened to the owner today talk about this. The Titans are going in a downward spiral that is going to rival the Carolina Panthers.
Yes, it is.
Because they don't know what they're doing and the people in charge don't know football. And it's a big problem with these teams. Now, we didn't get to talk last week about David Tepper. I covered that in the bonus episode.
Oh, that piece of crap.
But now you've got an opening in Seattle. How attractive is that job?
They're a quarterback away.
Obviously, we just disparaged Tennessee. That opening, along with Carolina, not attractive at all.
Those...
I don't even care if you're one of the hot coordinators like
you're
the Lions.
You're not going to want one of those two.
No, they're going to have. They are going to end up getting a retread, bottom of the barrel guy trying for his fourth or fifth job, trying to salvage his career.
Or you're going to have a bottom-feeding college guy.
Right. You're not getting a Dan Quinn. You're not getting a Dan Quinn. You're not getting Eric Bieniemy. You're not getting one of the top-level coordinators.
I think Matt Nagy might be available.
That's a great call. Could you not see him in Carolina? That idiot, could you not see him? He will just, I can't do that to Bryce Young. I can't do that. I don't want Bryce Young to have his career destroyed. I really, honestly.
So that takes Luke Getsy out of the equation, too.
That poor kid, I'm hoping and praying they somehow hit on a decent head coach to at least make him look good for the next couple years, and then he can get the hell out of Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, God.
All right. Playoff injuries as we head into our picks. TJ Watt, issues with his MCL. Does not look like he will be available this week.
That was a fluke thing with the teammate, but the Watt brothers cannot stay healthy.
No, you know how I feel about JJ. I think he's the most overrated defensive player of all time. I don't care how many awards he won. I agree completely with you. And they're like the Boses.
Yes, the Watts and the Boses cannot stay healthy, and they usually disappear when you need them most.
And here we go. As we head into the wild card weekend, the most important player on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense will not be available. Now, one of the most important offensive weapons for the Lions doesn't look like he's going to be available. Stud rookie tight end Sam Laporta with the knee issue left, I believe, in the second quarter of their game in Week 18.
That's what I
a
get for
huge
rushing my
loss.
picks.
Well, it's still up in the air. It's still up in the air.
But still.
It's still up in the air. So let's get into our picks for wild card weekend. As I mentioned, 7 of our 8 panelists have their picks in. Saturday afternoon, January the 13th. David, take it over.
All right, we start off with the Cleveland Browns going to play the Houston Texans.
And who would have thought that? The Texans hosting a first-round game?
Ooh.
And I'll tell you what, a
This
lot of
is-
these teams we're looking at this first weekend, a lot of the experts and the pundits who know everything had them at the bottom of the barrel. Had them at the bottom of the barrel in week 1. These teams will never do anything. They're going to win 3-4 games max. And I'm telling you right now, at least 3 teams that we're going to talk about here in these 6 games were projected to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the Texans are one of them. The Texans are one of them.
CJ Stroud is impressive as hell.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This game is really going to come down to defense.
I agree.
And the Browns' defense is better than the Texans' defense.
Agreed. And right now, this is a victory for both teams. But just to get to this point, especially the Browns on their 4th quarterback.
Yeah.
But as much as you want to laugh at Joe Flacco,
he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
He's a veteran. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to win the big games. This is a big stage for CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans, who, by the way, I fucking love DeMeco Ryans as a head coach.
The Texans are going to be solid for the next several years.
Yes.
Watch out for them going forward.
Absolutely agree. With the Jaguars failing miserably like they are, we're seeing a very ridiculous power shift that we did not see coming.
Yeah.
In the AFC South. So, our picks?
It will be the Browns for you, me, and Aaron. The other 4 we have in are going with the Texans: Sam, Bill, Nick, and Doug.
All right, then we get to your favorite game of the week, the Peacock exclusive.
Oh, that I will not be watching. Don't watch it.
But your Dolphins are in it.
Dolphins at the Chiefs. Again, on the road. Miami, like the Cowboys, do not play well on the road.
Especially
in
cold,
0-degree
weather.
0-degree weather. Chiefs. For me. Chiefs for everybody except for Sam, thinking that the Dolphins might be able to pull it off.
Sam's playing the Oppo game because he wants to try to catch me.
He's trying to catch you.
Yep, so. For our Rick Shaggy Brooks Memorial Trophy for the best in football picks. He's 9 back, and we've only got, a handful of playoff games left, so he's trying to guess Oppo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. Going into Sunday, Steelers go up to Orchard Park to play the Bills.
Can't believe the weather's going to be that beautiful there. But the Steelers, if any team can handle bad weather, it's the Steelers.
So 2 cold, snowy weather teams. Nobody has any faith in the Steelers for this one. Bills at home across the board.
But I will
it's going to be a good game. This is going to be a hell of a game. I was just going to say,
it's going to be a closer game than you would think.
This is going to be a knockdown drag out.
Yes, and again, this will be a game where Josh Allen makes a shit ton of mistakes, but he'll be able to overcome it because I don't think Mason Rudolph, he needs to get some vote of confidence from Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Or whoever's going to be coaching the Steelers next year and say, we're going forward with Mason Rudolph, not Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, you have to commit to Rudolph to give him the confidence that he needs to go to that next level.
And plus, you're looking at a game where there's going to be limited possessions because the Steelers are going to grind it out. They're going to run Najee Harris. They're going to run Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, by the way, that dude is a menace with the football, not in a good way. He fumbles, he drops passes. I picked him up for a couple of weeks on my fantasy team. He was another one that I had to get rid of because he just couldn't be relied on.
Yeah. Bills can run the ball too with Cooks.
And he ruined my fantasy playoffs. He ruined my fantasy playoffs. I thought I was getting a steal when Bill cut him at the beginning of the season, and I picked him up and I stashed him on my bench. And then he had the one great game against the Cowboys, which got me into the playoffs.
And then they went away from him.
Yeah.
Why did... Again, we question Buffalo's coaching decisions as well.
Yes. I am not a fan of Sean McDermott at all. I think he got extremely lucky this year. For them to be the number 2 seed, given where they were 4 or 5 weeks ago, this is a miracle that they're number 2.
They've hit matchups well.
Yep, and I think it's going to continue.
Allen has made.
I think it's going to continue for this week and next week.
Yeah.
You know damn well the 4:15 game on Sunday belongs to the Dallas Cowboys. It always has, it always will. And so why should the playoffs be any different?
Exactly.
So the Green Bay Packers go to Arlington to play the Dallas Cowboys. Again, Mr. Oppo.
Yep, Sam taking the Packers. He's on Packer Island at this point.
Cowboys are virtually unbeatable at home.
Come on.
Virtually unbeatable. I think this game could also, though,
this could be a
closer than what people expect.
Yeah.
The point spread right now at 7.5. Buffalo game was at 10. I would take the underdog in both those games if you're giving me those points.
Oh, yeah. That's too many points to be given away.
And again, I was expecting Sam to actually email me and say, well, why can't you just tell me what your picks are and I'll just pick opposite? That's not the way it works, big man.
That's not how it goes.
No. Here we go. The Rams at the Lions. I knew the football gods would come through for me. I knew it. Even with Carson Wentz playing quarterback for the Rams. I knew the Rams would win so we could get this game. Oh, my God.
So are you saying the fix was in?
I am texting the elder statesman every 5 minutes during this game. Are you kidding me? I've already asked him how he feels about it. How are your emotions going into this game, Sam? How are they? Because, of course, Sam is a huge Lions fan. Now you get Stafford versus Goff.
Does he wear his Stafford jersey?
Oh, and you heard, by the way, no Stafford Lion jerseys allowed in the stadium. Seriously. No Detroit Lions Stafford jerseys allowed.
You know what?
The Rams fans could wear theirs, but they do not want Lions fans coming in with Stafford jerseys.
I don't blame them.
I think that's kind of bullshit. So don't tell the fans what they can wear, what they can't wear, other than obscenities. Let them wear whatever the hell they want. That being said, Puka Nakoa is healthy. Matthew Stafford is healthy.
Ish.
Cooper Kupp is healthy. Kyron Williams is healthy. Sam Laporta is not. And the head coach for the Rams knows how to get into Jared Goff's head.
He does, having coached him for several years.
Sean McVay knows how to get into not only Matthew Stafford's head, but Jared Goff's head. I'm taking the Rams. I'm getting all worked up here.
There you go. You've got the Rams. Bill's got the Rams. Nick's got the Rams. The rest of us take the Lions.
Finally, the Monday night game, which has just been, 3-4 years since they've been doing this idiocy?
Yeah, the stupidity of it all.
The Super Wild Card weekend.
Oh, just shut up. Put 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday.
Like it used to be, yeah. Well, it used to be 2 and 2.
Well, yeah.
But Eagles at the Buccaneers. Eagles reeling. Buccaneers not playing that well either.
No, the Eagles are, 1-5 down the stretch?
Yeah.
Absolutely pathetic. But they've still shown
they've got better players.
They've got better players than the Buccaneers. This is a make or break game for Sirianni.
Yes. I would take Pee Wee Herman coaching the Eagles against Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers right now.
Yes.
So you and I got the Eagles along with Nick and Doug. Sam, Bill, and Aaron take Tampa Bay. There you go, kids.
Boom. Confetti.
Only took us an hour, but we got through the NFL.
Oh, my God. On a short week.
That's okay. We probably will have to do 4 segments, but we'll get it done in 4.
Big college news coming up in the next segment. We'll be right back.
Are you having trouble falling asleep behind the wheel of your expensive SUV? Are you finding difficulty in avoiding golf clubs thrown at you by your angry wife as you pull out of the driveway? Sign up today for the Tiger Woods Driving School, sponsored by Sports Frenzy 2.0. We'll show you how to text ladies of the night while still driving effectively in the wee hours of the morning. We'll also teach you how to ditch a suspicious backpack when you end up driving into a ditch. Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, for updates on our latest classes, including how to curse and swear in front of uptight golf fans and their children and still be adored by millions. The Tiger Woods Driving School. It's great. All right, kids, third segment here. Sports Frenzy 2.0 as we break in the new year, our first episode of 2024. He's the Conquistador Dave Heights.
He's the Maestro Kevin Crane.
Taping January the 10th of the new year. This will drop early on January the 11th, 2024. Third segment, probably going to go 4 because of all the stuff that we didn't get to talk about last week.
Due to technical difficulties.
Our forced vacation week.
Spotify's computer glitch that hosed us.
And me talking to AI all weekend through emails and through chats. You can tell it's AI because the sentences are too nice and too perfect. You can tell when you're actually talking to a real human being where they're mistyping everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not spelling things correctly. Gen Z.
Yep.
In all their glory. But it's time to move on to college football, and the champions are
the Michigan Wolverines.
Now the question is, does Jim Harbaugh stay? Does he try to build a dynasty? Does he move on to the NFL to try to pull off that rare double where we just talked about Pete Carroll retiring as Seahawks head coach? Of course, he, along with Jimmy Johnson, two of the few that were able to win both college national championships and a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Does Harbaugh now want to go do that?
Or is he finally going to get out of Michigan and just get back up into the NFL?
Right.
He's been trying for how many years now, flirting with going back? We thought for sure a couple years ago when on National Signing Day, he was interviewing in Minnesota for the Vikings.
Yep.
And I thought that would have ruined Michigan.
Yeah,
but he still freaking bounced back.
Yeah. How the hell did that happen?
How do these kids not see the guy who's recruited them isn't even there? He's looking elsewhere. How do they stay committed? Boggles my mind.
But he did it. He pulled it off.
He
pulled it off in the national championship game a couple nights ago. 34-13, Michigan in a fairly dominating performance, beats Michael Penix Jr. and Washington. Really wasn't that close of a game. Michigan, I will admit, I was wrong. I said I don't know how Michigan is going to sustain this success when Harbaugh went on his suspension. And all they did was run the football. Because remember, back then, right before he was suspended, J.J. McCarthy was in the Heisman talk because they were throwing the ball.
Yeah, they were a dynamic offense.
And then they decided, nope, we're just going to jam the ball down everybody's throat.
Yep,
J.J. McCarthy wasn't throwing 20 passes a game.
No, he was basically a game manager throughout.
He'd scramble a couple times. Big scrambles, making big first downs. And we saw that in the title game.
Yep. He took over that offense. He stepped up and showed that he could be a leader.
He's a leader, but I
they
don't
still
understand why he thinks now he can jump to the next level. There
he
is
can't.
nothing I saw from him
No,
that leads me to think he's going to be a top-level NFL quarterback.
He's a decent college quarterback. I didn't see anything outstanding. He's not overly dynamic. He's just a solid quarterback.
Right. 303 yards rushing for Michigan.
Yeah.
And again, I say my bad, my faux pas. I said they were never going to be able to sustain that kind of offense throughout the end of the season, into the playoffs, all the way through the championship.
Damned if they didn't. That offensive line was dominant.
Yep. I like Blake Corum a lot.
Yeah,
I like
really
him a lot.
good.
If you can get him in the second, third round in the draft, I think he could end up doing a little bit of damage, kind of like a chain, maybe for the Dolphins.
So.
I will take credit for that. I told everybody that was coming.
Yeah, because he was the backup. He was solid, and he didn't have the wear and tear.
But when I saw him with A&M last year, Texas A&M, I said, that kid's got something special. I see the same thing with Corum.
Yep,
same thing with Corum. So congratulations to the Wolverines. First title in over 2 decades.
Yeah.
So now, of course, in the world we live in,
you got to look for next year already.
Victory is fleeting, and now it's look to where's Harbaugh going to go? What's the next year going to look like?
Yep, and the predictions are, Georgia's our preseason favorite.
Yep.
Come on. Seriously.
Course, you and I talked about it in the pre-show warm-up. Now things are going to get interesting because now
the big elephant in the room sat today.
Right. Well, on top of the fact that we've got USC, UCLA officially now in the Big Ten, we've got all the Pac-12 schools moving into the Big 12, the SEC. You've got Big 12 schools moving into the SEC. But you're right. Today, the landscape of college football changed.
Dare we say, legendary college coach.
I think that's very appropriate. Yes.
Nick Saban announces his retirement, leaving a gaping hole in the college coaching ranks.
And now speculation will begin. It'll be rampant. Who's taking the Alabama job? And this is very similar with the same school to when Paul Bear Bryant left.
Yep.
And how it was, the pressure was on.
Was on. Follow a legend.
And Ray Perkins, God bless him, he did the best he could. And he did an admirable job, but he wasn't Bear Bryant. Now you're going to have the same exact thing.
You don't want to be the Saban. One coming in immediately after.
But, Dave, we have to ask, who will it be?
Early speculation. Do they poach Sirianni from Texas?
That's Sirianni.
Or Sarkisian, sorry. Do they poach Sarkisian from Texas? He just signed the extension. They're moving in to the SEC. He's building something there. Then you have probably the big alum. Do they go after Dabo Swinney?
See, I think that's more likely because he has expressed his discontent with the fans, with the program, with the ACC.
He's not happy at Clemson now.
Now, if he were to leave Clemson and jump to Alabama and the SEC, that is going to set up a further weakening
of the ACC.
Yeah, to the point where you're gonna hear a lot of speculation about the collapse of the ACC. Who's going to take Florida State? Who's going to take Miami? And then you're going to be down to 3 big conferences. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So another college football news. LSU, of course, we know their defense was garbage this year. They had a fantastic offense with the Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels, but they bring in Missouri's Blake Baker to run their defense now. So does that make LSU a potential national champion contender for next year?
Potentially, if they wouldn't have lost their offensive coordinator.
Who's coming to Notre Dame. I know this story. I saw this story and I was like, I got to hold this for Dave. I've got to hold this one for Dave. Now, we love Mike Gundy. We love him. And he won his bowl game. He won his bowl game.
He did. He did not Gundy himself.
Had a great year. Kudos to the man. The myth. The 40.
He's a man. He's 50.
Yeah. With the mullet. Love him.
We love Mr. Gundy.
But now, on the one side, he's probably happy he's getting his starting quarterback back. Oklahoma State quarterback Alec Bowman has been granted his 7th year of eligibility.
I've been going to this school for 7 years. I'm no dummy.
No, he's jumped around. Of
he
course,
has the transfer bullshit.
Red shirting and all that crap.
Red shirt, COVID, blah
but at
blah
some point,
blah.
This has gotta stop. This has gotta stop at some point.
You give this guy a 7th year, but you wouldn't let a kid play moving to be closer to take care of a sick family member. That's what you get.
The inconsistency, the hypocrisy of the NCAA and the people who report on it, by the way, again, I'll get to that in a few minutes, is garbage.
It's pathetic.
Miami might have their new quarterback.
Maybe.
I don't know. Again, Mario Cristobal is the latest in a long line of the next great Miami head coach who's not. So they bring in this kid from the lower levels, I believe from the BCS, is it? Or the FCS? No. Maybe it's the FCS.
FCS.
But yeah, one of these lower levels, Albany. Now, he set all these records on the lower level for Albany. Reese Puffenberger is now coming to Miami, and he's potentially
Puff Daddy.
I'm beginning to wonder if they didn't sign him just because. I'm beginning to wonder if they didn't sign him just because his name sounded somewhat like Schnellenberger. Puffenberger, Schnellenberger. Schnellenberger was the guy that brought us to prominence in the 80s. Reese Puffenberger from Albany is transferring in to compete for the Miami quarterback.
It's going to be a puffin' offense, baby. We could do this all night.
I have no faith in this regime. None. It's the same. It's the Who. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Never, it's like the Bears. Never fucking gets any better.
No.
Never gets any better.
Just when you think they might turn a corner, they don't.
It's been 20 years since Miami had a viable, prominent football program. 20 years. Jesus God. And now we're relying on Albany's Reese Puffenberger. Jesus God.
Puffin.
And like we were just talking about, the ACC is collapsing. So what does that mean for the future of the Hurricanes? Now, somebody will take them. Somebody will want them in the cachet that they bring. But who's it going to be?
The rebuilt Pac-12. Why not? It's a coast-to-coast thing now, isn't it?
Oh, God. Oh, God, help us all. Can I do my... Let's get on a good track here. Let's do some positive stuff. I've got a couple Clint Eastwood badasses of the week. Now, of course, I mentioned one of them earlier. Selfishly. This is a nice segue because we're just talking about the dismal mess that is the Miami Hurricanes football program right now. But my man, who I think is the greatest head coach in football history, that egomaniac Jerry Jones finally saw fit to put the great Jimmy Johnson in the Dallas Ring of Honor down at AT&T Stadium. So kudos to my man, Jimmy Johnson.
So does this mean Jerry's dying and has to make amends for
cashing in on the deal he made with the devil?
Yeah.
I'm always scared every year when the Cowboys get a nice slot in the playoffs, home game or two, because if they luck into a Super Bowl or even a championship game, oh my God, all the bandwagon jumping fans will just go nutsy cuckoo crazy.
2 words: Mike McCarthy.
Now, I don't like this guy. So this will show you I'm a fair individual. I will acknowledge, and that's coming later too, by the way, where I think Dave will actually quit the podcast. But
Now you're scaring
I
me.
don't like this guy, but I am putting him in as one of my Clint Eastwood badasses of the week. Mark Cuban. Now, Mark Cuban recently sold his share of the Dallas Mavericks for a hefty sum.
Yeah.
He still retains control over basketball operations, but this is how a boss should operate. And I know I never watched Shark Tank. I could give 2 shits about what happens on Shark Tank. But he turned around after selling his share of the Mavericks for a massive profit. He will be giving out, not to the basketball players, the spoiled pricks,
overpaid babies.
He will be giving $35 million in bonuses to all the other Mavericks employees.
That's cool.
I think that's very cool. That's how a boss should operate. You share the wealth.
35 million a piece? That's awesome.
No, Dave. No, that's not what I said. I don't need Mark Cuban up my ass. Your buddy said they'll give $35 million a piece to everybody in the Mavericks organization?
That's what I heard.
Finally, a little bit of patriotism here. Being a little jingoistic. Because I am a patriot. God damn it, I love America. I love America. This is hockey, so you should love this. Team USA won the World Junior Hockey Championship recently.
USA. For all you
and you know what they did to celebrate? And fuck purple hair Megan Rapinoe. Fuck her and fuck the women's soccer team. Because you know what these guys did? These young men did to celebrate winning? They sang the goddamn national anthem. All together. They belted out the national anthem.
Good for them. Patriotic pride in their country.
Yeah. So purple hair, fuck off. Glad you're retired. Go to hell and don't come back. I hope the fires of Hades singe your purple fucking hair. I told you people we were coming back with a vengeance. And we're not even in the dumbasses yet. We're not even close.
Oh, baby. That's going to be a segment on its own, isn't it?
All right, let's talk some NBA. Got a lot, believe it or not, of NBA headlines. A lot.
Yes, there is a lot going on.
Start off with the Golden State Warriors. Chris Paul, their big offseason acquisition, fractures his hand. He is out 4 to 6 weeks. And right now, the Golden State Warriors are not even in the play-in tournament. They are below the cut line.
They are not looking good right now.
Oh, but
their savior is coming back. Draymond Green has been reinstated after undergoing mental health therapy, continuing on to be a kinder, gentler Draymond.
Yeah, that'll last for about 4 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
12 game, his 12-game suspension, as Dave said, is now officially done.
Yeah, he's back with the team. He's practicing, trying to get back into game shape. I hope this guy.
So he's hitting a heavy bag?
Yeah. I hope this guy has gotten and continues to get the help he needs. When he plays, he's a hell of a player, but he is such a freaking head case.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm rooting for the Warriors. The Warriors have never been that championship team that I hated. For all their titles, for all their championships, I liked them. I really did.
Overall, yeah, they are a likable team for the most part.
I got my problems with their head coach.
Right.
He's an asshat. But
outside of Kerr and Green, they're a pretty.
I don't even have a problem with Green to a point. You need the enforcer.
You do.
Look at the bad boys. You had Rodman with the bad boys and with the Bulls.
And Lambeer, those guys actually should have faced suspension for some of the shit that they've pulled.
But you need that guy. It's like in hockey, too.
Yeah,
you know?
need somebody there that plays with an edge, but you got to know the line. And I hope Green finds that line to not go over. He's got the edge they need.
Well, when he punched his own teammate,
yeah,
that was when he crossed the line.
Yeah.
And he hasn't come back since.
Yeah. So, but no, they're, for the most part, yes, I've got no issues with the Warriors.
Just keep the fucking Lakers out of my sight.
Yeah,
keep the and we'll get to them later too.
Of garbage.
We'll get to them later too. Now, of course, I want to talk about my team. The Magic are starting to slide. They're playing a much tougher schedule as of late than they did earlier in the year, so they're down to 21-16. But great news, great news. The first number ever to be retired by the Orlando Magic, February the 13th, 2024, Mr. Shaquille O'Neal. It's about time, and thank God. And I don't care that he is a mercenary. This will be the third team that has retired his jersey.
Yeah.
But
he is that guy.
He was the one that made that franchise.
Yeah.
He made them a legitimate, viable NBA franchise.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, they could have gone the way of the Vancouver Grizzlies, and had to have moved to another city.
Yeah. Yeah, he made that franchise relevant.
Yes. And I am ecstatic, so happy for Shaq. He should be the first one.
Yep.
Now the question is, are Penny Hardaway going to start campaigning? Tracy McGrady, Dwight Howard? No, just Shaq.
No.
Just
Those
Shaq for now.
Those guys didn't do anything.
Well, Penny and Dwight will say they got their teams to the finals too. Penny with Shaq, and then Dwight separately got the Magic to the finals.
Yeah, but they were not. I've got my issues with those guys.
I think Penny will get his retired. I don't think Dwight will. Dwight's got so many off the court issues.
Yeah. Well, it'd be Penny Penny or Little Penny.
Somebody said, how about Dennis Scott? Now, I used to live down in the Orlando area, so I know that team. And kind of like we were talking about with the Bears, that Orlando Magic team, everybody knows. Nick Anderson, we know every player from that team that made it to the finals that should have won the fucking championship that didn't. And so those guys are all legendary in our minds, because it's like the Bears that got to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. We know the defense, we know the running backs, Thomas Jones and Cedric Benson,
and we know who should have been the quarterback.
And just came up short.
We know who should have been the quarterback.
Yep. Looking back to January the 3rd, a little bit of statistics. I have been getting a ton of awesome statistics, by the way. Kudos to Yahoo Sports for their new newsletter every morning. They have gone away from opinions to just, here's what happened last night. Here are the stats you need to know about.
Oh, you mean they've gone back to old school reporting?
Basically, yes. And some of these stats they are bringing up are unbelievable. January the 3rd, 2024, the first time in history 5 teams in one night in the NBA scored 140 or more points.
Jesus.
You know what that says to me?
There's no defense.
There you go. There you go.
It's not about offensive prowess. It's lack of defense.
Yep. Ricky Rubio is retired from the NBA, if you care.
No.
The Nets were fined $100,000 for sitting too many players.
Good.
4 of their 5 starters, I believe, they sat here within the last week or two. NBA said, nope, not going to do it. We told you we weren't going to put up with this shit. Now, I'd like to see him pull this crap with the Lakers, is what I'd like to see.
That's who I want to see.
Yeah, but the Nets get fined $100,000 for sitting players. Speaking of the Lakers, kudos. I wanted to make him one of my Clint Eastwood badasses.
Donnie Darko?
Yes. Toronto head coach Darko Rajakovic.
I love this guy. He is my new favorite head coach in the NBA right now.
He didn't hold back. He did not hold back. His team, the Raptors, lost by 1 point last night to the Lakers. In the fourth quarter, the free throw disparity was ridiculous.
It was insane. There's never been a disparity like this.
Lakers got 23 free throws to the Raptors 2.
Absolute crap.
And again, 1 point game. Final score.
Tell me who determined the outcome of that game.
Yeah, Rajakovic went off in the post-game press conference, basically implying, so the Lakers had to win tonight? So why didn't you just tell us
and
so we
wouldn't
didn't show up? Yeah. Love the guy. Love him because he's calling it like we've been saying it. It's fixed. It's bullshit. Because now the Lakers miraculously have won a couple games in a row, and they just slotted themselves in to that last spot in the play-in.
Yeah.
The play-in round.
Oh, we got to keep the Lakers relevant. We got to keep LeBron relevant. Bullshit. They suck. They don't deserve to be there.
And he's still the most overrated fucking player of all time. Is he one of the top 10 of all time? Yes. He's not number 1. He's not even fucking close. That would be one Michael Jordan. All right. Wrapping up the NBA. Some big money. Big money here.
Big money, no whammies.
A guy who I don't like to see get big money. First up, Kawhi Leonard. Just got a 3-year today. 3-year, $153 million extension with the Clippers.
To do what?
Yeah. Play when he wants. Play when he wants, basically. I know he got the title with the Raptors, but he's another one that I cannot stand. And I have heard people...
He's street clothes too, isn't he?
Not as bad as street clothes, but he's like street clothes junior. But I am hearing people in the media starting to call out, not ESPN, of course.
Oh, well, no, because
got
of their
the contract. But people outside of ESPN are saying the NBA is in massive trouble with their ratings. Nobody's watching because they got destroyed on Christmas Day.
Oh, absolutely.
The NFL obliterated them, destroyed them. And they're just praying to the gods that they never have to deal with having Christmas Day on any day where the NFL can schedule games. Because nobody gives 2 ripped shits about the NBA, especially when the NFL's on.
Exactly.
Now, a guy who deserves money, who got the money, and is now I can't do my riff about the Spurs and the Pistons with the 2 highest paid coaches, because now we've got a new number 1. And this guy deserves it. He deserves it. Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat, head coach, gets an 8-year, $120 million extension. Of course, Pat Riley's chosen boy, but...
us included, gave Miami crap for putting Spoelstra in charge as head coach. Would he know what he was doing? And damned if he didn't prove everybody wrong.
Yep.
He is one hell of a coach.
Yep. And now the highest paid head coach in the NBA. Real quick in the NCAA, Notre Dame 7-9, Miami 11-3. Both number 1 Purdue and number 2 Houston lost last night as we tape. So we'll probably have a new number 1, maybe.
Probably, because it's a rotating thing. One loses, the next steps up, they'll lose, the next steps up, and they retread through.
I will say this, though. Notre Dame's showing potential.
After Shrewsbury blew up in the press conference and said he would obliterate everybody and help them move on if they didn't play the right way, that team has turned around a bit.
They're not playing bad. You get a bonus segment again because of last week's technical difficulties. Segment 4 coming up next, kids.
Hi, I'm Patrick, not Pat, Mahomes, Super Bowl champion and MVP. And when I'm not trying to keep my wife and brother in line, I'm listening to Sports Frenzy on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Stitcher, Amazon, and Audible. Brittany! Come on, stop posting on Twitter. Jackson, will you please get off TikTok? Man, it's times like these I really miss doing stupid, silly State Farm ads with Coach Reed.
Bonus segment to start off the new year here on Sports Frenzy 2.0, your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary show. That's a Conquistador Dave Height.
That's the Maestro Kevin Crane.
Do not forget to check out the weekend edition, because if you thought this clusterfuck was fun, you just wait until we get you through your Saturday morning hangover.
Oh my God, we got screwed last weekend.
Yes, this is the weekend where we will give you our top 5 songs, albums, and concerts of 2023. We've got movie reviews. We've got to check in on Reacher and Fargo. We have got so much shit to talk about, Dave.
We got books, and that's just
you've got like 47
chaos.
Books to review, right?
3.
I've actually got one.
Yes, I've got 3.
So you do not want to miss your favorite Saturday morning hangover cure, the weekend edition. But we've still got one bonus segment here for you here on the sports edition. We're going to start off with hockey. Take it away, Dave.
Oh, bad news, Blackhawks fans. Your great and glorious number 1 overall pick, Rookie of the Year to be, hopefully still, Connor Bedard had surgery to repair his fractured jaw, out 6 to 8 weeks. Back on January 5th, he took a hit, bringing the puck up the ice by Devils defenseman Brandon Smith. And as soon as he got hit, Bedard skated off the ice and went right back to the locker room. He knew it was just one of those things. So in the 4-2 loss that night. So here on January 10th, the Hawks are sitting at 12-27 with 26 points. 5 ahead of the Sharks, and they're within 3 points of the Ducks.
And Connor Bedard, just before he broke his jaw, was named an All-Star.
Yeah, he one of the first 2 All-Stars named. Ugh, frustrating.
All right, we're going to get to baseball in a second, but we got to cover some other things in the world of sports, especially this. And this is going to lead us into in a couple minutes our dumbasses of the week. Now, the PGA Tour started. The season started here this past weekend with the Century being played in Maui. The winner was Chris Kirk. How about this? You cannot tell me that equipment doesn't matter. That's for you, ladies. Max Homa this past weekend hit a 477-yard drive.
Good God!
Record drive. 477 yards.
And you wonder why they're rolling the balls back, people.
But now, other news surrounding the PGA Tour. Tiger Woods and Nike end their 27-year partnership. I wonder why. Does Nike actually realize that Tiger Woods is irrelevant, even though the networks don't, as they continue to drive him and his son down our fucking throats? Tiger Woods is not going to win a major tournament ever again. He's not going to sniff it.
Done.
We listen to sports radio in addition to doing this podcast.
We do.
We have to get our information from somewhere. All of the sources, the ESPNs of the world.
Yahoo and whatever friggin' else.
Interesting news. I don't know if this is going to be bad news down the road. I don't know what this portends for the future of radio, sports radio in particular, but this involves all types of radio. News, music, sports. Odyssey, which owns a lot of channels.
They own a lot.
Basically all CBS radio channels, including The Score out of Chicago, WFAN out of New York, WEEI out of Boston. The big three, in my opinion, of sports radio. Files Chapter 11 bankruptcy here this past week. Not hearing a lot from the stations themselves talking about this.
No.
We'll see where this leads, but the disturbing thing that I heard about this is that they filed because nobody wants to advertise on radio anymore. They're not getting the advertising dollars they need to sustain the model.
Interesting.
So we will see. Hopefully this does not mean an end, because if Odyssey falls with all these, and again, we're talking about K-Rock in LA, one of the most important music channels in the country. We're talking about news channels, everything, not just sports. If Odyssey fails, big problems for radio. Internet radio and over-the-air radio.
And that could be they just paid too damn much to get everything.
But again, when I hear it's advertising,
that worries me. How much are they trying to gouge to make up for what they spent? That's the big question.
True.
Because you cannot overprice your product.
Okay, one scary thing in tennis before we move on to baseball. No, I'm not talking about Rafael Nadal. I know he's dropped out of the Australian Open because of his hip. But did you hear the shit a couple weeks ago that happened in Australia at the Brisbane International Tennis Tournament?
I did not.
Where a lot of the big name players, one of the most poisonous snakes in the world, got its way onto the court.
Oh, wow.
During one of the matches. Had to call in a snake wrangler, delayed the match.
Wow. That's what you get for playing in Australia, people.
They got
the top 10 deadliest everything.
You know me. Man, when I heard that, I freaked out. I was like, holy shit.
Man.
There's pictures of it on the internet. It's sitting there just off court, wrapped around some cables.
Just living
And-
life in the
And
sun.
I was like, oh, okay, it's a snake, big deal. Then they say, no, it ended up being one of the most poisonous snakes on the face of the earth. Just happened to make its way into this tennis tournament with the biggest names in tennis in attendance.
Yeah, like I said, Australia has the top 10 deadliest of everything.
Yeah. All right, baseball. Let's talk White Sox.
The
First
White
and
Sox.
foremost. Well, because they had all the headlines last week that we didn't get to talk about. So, your favorite, Chris Sale, former White Sox player,
traded from the Red Sox to the Braves.
for prospect Vaughn Grissom, who supposedly is going to slot right in the infield for the Red Sox.
Yep. Good luck to Atlanta with China Doll Sale.
They gave him an extension. They actually gave him a 2-year extension for $38 million.
No, that's stupidity.
Yep.
He should be on a year-to-year deal for not a ton of money with that fragile arm of his.
Nope. 2-year extension.
Dumb money beyond belief.
And they also have a 2026 club option for $18 million.
Nope, not worth it.
But this is how valuable pitchers are, because your other former White Sox pitcher, Lucas Giolito, did sign with Boston. He got 2 years and $38.5 million.
He's at least durable and will eat innings for you.
Now, in terms of your roster, you brought in Chris Flexen on a 1-year, $1.75 million deal.
Oh, yay.
Oh, but what about Eric Fetty?
We want to be Royals.
Eric Fetty, who last pitched in the Korean baseball organization.
Yeah. How many guys is Chris Getz bringing in that he was integral in when he was with the Royals and bringing them into the organization? Most everybody has Royals ties now.
But Eric Fetty got 2 years and $15 million.
No, stupid.
Again, he went overseas, pitched well.
And he's going to do shit again here. And of course, Getz had to call a press conference to talk about trade talks with Dylan Cease ongoing, trying to generate interest. That's how pathetic things are.
And I know, I'm not trying to rip on your White Sox.
I am.
I hope they trade him to the Orioles. I don't want him to go to the Yankees or the Mets let him go to the Orioles. The Orioles have got enough really good prospects that will help you out. I'm tired of the imbalance in baseball, which we're going to get to now, where the Dodgers do it again. The fucking Dodgers signed Teoscar Hernandez.
So the third major signing.
1-year deal, $23.5 million, but $8.5 million deferred that will be paid out between 2030 and 2039.
This is fucking bullshit. Manfred has got to grow some balls and put an end to this shit. It's destroying the game.
There is no competitive balance in baseball now. There is none. I am tired of hearing the big markets go, oh, that's just...
No, it's not just.
It is not a competitive league if you do not have the vast majority of your teams able to field a team against 3 or 4 super teams. It's just not fair. It's just not right. And enough with the deferrals. Enough with the fucking deferrals. That's where Manfred needs to step in and say, we're done with the fucking deferrals.
No, if you can't make it work within the salary cap, you're done.
I still want to know, what do the Dodgers know? that they're pushing all this money back into the 2030s. What do they know is going to... They hoping for nuclear war? What the fuck are they expecting? Because they're not going to be able to field a team after 2030. They're going to be paying guys who are retired.
Instant gratification.
Oh, boy.
And it's all going to come crumbling down because they don't have a manager who's worth shit.
By the way, as of Sunday, we're taping here Wednesday night. As of Sunday, the Dodgers have committed $1.202 billion this year.
B with the...
All the other teams in baseball
combined,
$1.225 billion. How is that competitive fucking balance? How is that competitive balance? Again, this is why the NFL draws the viewers they do, because everybody knows all the teams have a level playing field, figuratively, literally, financially. Baseball does not. Oh, and the Mets fans are going crazy because now all of a sudden, after Steve Cohen shit the bed last year with Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, and now he brings in the former GM of the Brewers, they're acting like the Brewers. They're big signings now are Harrison Bader, 1 year, $10.5 million, and Sean Manaea, 2 years, $28 million, to round out that stellar rotation now. And I'm not... Well, yeah, I am trying to make fun of the Mets. Yeah, I was going to apologize, but no.
No. They get what they deserve.
This is what you get.
And I hope the fucking Dodgers get plastered and everything goes haywire for them on every frickin' level.
So I'm just pointing it out, not tooting my horn. Cubs actually signed somebody.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, from overseas, they bring in Shota Imanaga. Now, I had not seen the final deal.
$53 million deal.
2 years is what
4 year 53.
But I think there are escalators and incentives involved. But that's not a bad deal. I'm telling you, that's not a bad deal. Because
several provisions, team options.
Yeah.
After 2 and 3, it could go up to $80 million over 5 years.
There you go. I knew there were a lot of escalators and but that's still not a bad deal.
Yeah, they have to pay $9.825 million
is that
in release for the post.
That's fine, because you know why? I don't have to fucking deal with Scott Boras. I hate Scott Boras, and I'm sick to shit of the fact that he has Bellinger, that he has Hader. He's got all the top free agents, and now they're going to drag this shit out until March.
Because he's a piece of garbage.
He's another one. Destroying the Dodgers and Scott Boras.
Scott Boras is the original destructor of baseball.
So I'm fine with this signing. I think this is a great signing for the Cubs. I appreciate Hoyer's patience. Let's put it that way. I think he's doing the right thing. I think he's doing the right thing. Now, unfortunately for the Rays, who have always tried to do things the right way, looks like they're going to get screwed big time. And they banked on Wander Franco. And, oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
In trouble in the Dominican Republic. Just bonded out of jail Monday. Supposedly had an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old girl down there.
Not one. There's a couple of others that are in play as well.
And, of course, there are rumors, speculation that he paid off parents.
Yeah.
Initially, the prosecutors down there had him on commercial sexual exploitation and money laundering. A judge just reduced the charges to sexual and psychological abuse. Still,
I'm sick of this crap.
Judges?
Yes.
So at least
Call
now,
it what it actually fucking is. Quit these goddamn plea deals. Hold people accountable.
yeah, so now instead of looking at decades in jail with the lesser charges, he's looking at a maximum of 5 years if found guilty. But like you said, again,
For ruining lives.
and what do you and I always say? If it was you or I, we'd be in jail for life. But celebrities, athletes get away
With
literally
everything.
with murder. I brought up Oscar Pistorius
Yep.
yesterday in the bonus segment. Must be great to kill people in South Africa. You get out of jail in less than 10 years. Must be phenomenal. Must be awesome. Now, we talked about the Hall of Fame in football. In baseball, there is an interesting website that posts the currently available to the public Hall of Fame ballots. So right now, as I checked today, 37.8% of the ballots are in for this year's Baseball Hall of Fame class.
Yeah.
We are on pace to have 5 players make it in. Adrian Beltre is almost unanimous. A couple of bitter Boston writers will not put him in. Todd Helton, which I don't fucking get.
No, what the hell? No, Todd Helton hadn't done shit to deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Billy Wagner, I don't see the Hall of Fame credentials there. But again, he played for the Mets. He played for the Mets. Gary Sheffield, yes.
Yes, Gary Sheffield.
And he's barely hanging on because he's linked to steroids.
Right.
And then Joe Mauer.
Seriously?
Yeah. Those are your 5 right now that are above the 75% threshold.
Oh, no.
Yep. That's a weak class.
That is awful.
That's a weak class. I'd put Beltre and Sheffield in, and that's it. That's it. All right, we got to move it along here. Otherwise, we're going to do 5 segments. We don't want to do that. We don't want to
go there.
All right, moments of silence. Big ones in racing.
Ugh. 3-time Winston Cup champion Cale Yarborough passes away. One of his famous moments, the 1979 Daytona 500, where he crashes, the first one televised flag to flag on CBS, gets in a wreck with Donnie Allison on the backstretch of the last lap. They get into the fist fight as Richard Petty wins one of his 7.
Yep, one of the big ones in NASCAR, Cale Yarborough.
The Bulldog.
And then, of course, former Indy 500, 2003 Indy 500 champion, Gilles de Ferran, has passed away. Joey Meyer, of course, Ray Meyer's son, who took over coaching DePaul, did a very good job.
Yep.
We thought nepotism, but he ended up being a very good coach.
Really good coach. Paula Murphy, the first female funny car racer. Y'all thought it was Shirley Muldowney. No. Paula Murphy was considered the fastest woman on wheels at one time. She set a land speed record. So, raced in NASCAR and others short tracks. So, thoughts and prayers to her family and friends. She was in her 90s.
I could only hope to make it to my 90s. I'm probably going to end up dying on this podcast one day, blowing a gasket, blowing a vein in my temple. Frank Ryan, who was the quarterback of Cleveland's last championship football team, the Browns, won in 1964 with Frank Ryan at the helm. So thoughts and prayers to everybody we mentioned.
Yep.
Dave, what time is it?
It's time to get ill. No, it's time to pivot.
All right. My favorite time of each and every week. Get to do it twice a week. Sports and pop culture. So let's start off with America's favorite game show.
Red Foreman's Dumbass or Not.
This one I got to give out to you. Shout out to you. Fox News. And we hate all the media.
God.
Doesn't matter if it's right, left, we hate them all.
Fox News fucked up royally.
Well, not royally.
No.
Not with the Royals, with the
With
White
the White
Sox.
Sox. Way back early 2023, old-time baseball player Frank Thomas passed away. But when Fox News did their in memoriam for sports, they put White Sox Hall of Famer Frank Thomas's picture up on the screen. Oh my God, how freaking stupid could they be? And Frank had to go on social media. I'm still alive, and I can't believe my former employer was this dumb.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, of course.
That shows the lack of integrity in news, that nobody looks at anything. There's no editing.
Gotta be first. Gotta be first. Gotta be first. Even though in this case they're just wrapping up the year that was.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they didn't have time to research this and put up the right picture.
Yeah. We just saw on the local news, instead of announce, it was announce was up on the screen.
Oh, you see that
so we
all
took
the time
a picture
now.
of we take pictures of it and post it to their site saying, where's your...
They don't care.
They don't.
No, because that stuff I see all the time.
Yeah. On all stations.
And on the weekend edition, we have a very famous actress who's going to side with us on this. So you're going to have to check out the weekend edition for that. Now, we talked about the Century, the season opening tournament for the PGA in Maui. We talked about Chris Kirk winning and Max Homa's 477-yard drive. You know who wasn't there, Dave?
Tiger Woods? Rory McIlroy?
Rory McIlroy!
Gee, isn't this one of those tournaments that he has to play for the FedEx Cup?
Well, this is going to be a double dumbass. The rare double dumbass. Because, of course, we didn't get to call him out last week. So he gets doubled up this week. First up, Mr. McIlroy now admits he was too, quote, judgmental, unquote, of the live golfers because not everyone is in my or Tiger Woods' financial position.
Yeah,
how arrogant!
Piece of shit.
How arrogant is that statement? Not everyone is in my or Tiger's financial position.
Gee, and some of yours and Tiger's financial position came about by winning the Dubai Desert Classic, which I believe was funded with Saudi money.
Hey, Dave, guess what part 2 of this double dumbass call out to Rory McIlroy is? He skipped the Century. He opted out of the Century. Do you know why? He wanted to prepare himself for the next tournament in Dubai. Boom! I think this calls for, we fucking told you so.
Here you go. The Dubai Desert Classic. This is just how much money they got from winning the tournament. In 2008, Tiger wins $416,750. In 2006, he won $309,862. That's Tiger's 2 wins. Rory, 3-time winner in Dubai. 2009, $416,750. 2015, $441,755. And oh, yeah, last year, 2023, $1.53 million. Hypocritical bitch, suck it. Then, 2011, Tiger Woods got $55 million to promote a golf resort in Dubai that was never built.
Need we say more?
Boom! Confetti.
Okay, this one I know is going to fire Dave up. Couple minutes left. Johnson County Assistant District Attorney Megan Ashen drops 3 felony charges against Jackson Mahomes. Goes right back to what you talked about a few minutes ago. The judicial system and how they fail us. Now he's only facing a misdemeanor battery charge for forcing himself on that restaurant manager, kissing her against her will.
What the battery is against the waiter who tried to stop him from going into the office. The owner of the restaurant had to close the restaurant because of death threats that she was getting.
And that's why she will not
cooperate. And that's why she will not cooperate now. She won't testify because of the death threats she was getting from you assholes in Kansas City who think Jackson fucking Mahomes is all that because he's Patrick's brother. Bullshit. Hold this little fucktard responsible for his actions. Just because his brother's famous doesn't mean he is. That doesn't mean he can be a freaking felon and get away with everything.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now you're going to have to hold off to the weekend edition to find out why Dave is going to quit the show. Because we're going to have to wait.
Holy shit, where's the Tylenol?
We're going to have to wait till the weekend edition where I'll talk about Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Kimmel. Dave, of course, will chime in as well. Final one I talked about on the bonus episode yesterday, but I want Dave's input as we wrap this up. Dave, how do you feel about the National Gay Flag Football League?
Oh, for the glove of God.
They have actually got advertisements for that. Here's my question, and this is an old joke, but I love it, to wrap things up. If men are from Mars and women are from Venus, do all these other sexual inclinations come from Uranus?
Yes, they do. This is
out
division.
Of fucking it's control. Division. We're not bringing people together. We're separating people.
You're dividing more and more. It's stupid. It's dumbassery. That's what you get from it this week. Come back next week. Check out the weekend edition. We love you.